Alright, let's see if it's going to fit. Let's see here. Too much crap in the way. Alright, where is our chain there? Clears. Perfect. Looks like it's working. I'm sure we need all these washers and stuff on here, but I'm going to put the bigger washer on the outside, so it if the bearing starts to fail, it'll keep it in there. But I'm going to use the thinner one in there right up against it so it won't hit on its seal. So it'll be a backup. That way the bearing will stay on there a little bit. And it really needs a lot bigger one because we don't want this thing to come off. So it needs to be big enough to cover the outside edge. So I need like a fender washer is what I really need. So I'm going to go find me a fender washer. That way it'll work better. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, back. So, there's our bearing. We got a washer that goes in there, gets us off the bearing surface. So you don't rub on the seal in there. Over there. And then also we got to get off of this. So I get us past that outer edge. There. This is a fender washer. So that goes right in there like that. So if that bearing was to fail, this would still not come off. It would be retained by this big fat washer. So that's what you do on racing. You always have a safety margin. So if something fails, you still won't lose it. Like Heim joints in your rear suspension. Yeah, things like that. Keeps everything together. A lot of racing, they mandatory that you do stuff like this. So there you go. That'll work. Put this in here. See in there. Get a little tight. You don't have access to get in here very well. Which means there's very limited access. Also means you're working off your fingertips. Okay, washers are in. Let me get the nut in there somehow. Okay, so now somehow I'm going to have to fish this nut in there. We don't really have any room to get in there. So I don't know if you can see in there, but it's pretty tight to get in there. So you just have to try to get in there anyway. Frame rails are in the way. Trying to figure out how we're going to do that one, but we just have to fish it in there. Push the bolt in. Try to get to the start. There's the chains in our damn way. That's sharp on my hand. That chain is sharp on my hand. Okay, I think I got it started. Yep. Use the washers. Good. Alright. That hurt. Okay, now we go ahead and get our wrenches in here. Tighten this up a little bit. It's always fun trying to tighten everything all up. This was just about impossible to do if you had the wheel in here, which is the problem I had. There, the wrench just drop down. Tighten more with a box wrench. Uh-oh, we are dragging. Damn it. Yeah, we're just a little bit too big. I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be there. If you put weight on the bike, it might gain clearance. Right now it's dragging. Where'd my flashlight go to? Looks like I'm on the frame rail. Nice. Well, that's some precision shock studs, huh? Something's wrong. Bearings are tight too. Can't tighten the bolt down like that. It crushes the sleeve in there and locks up the bearings. So it doesn't work. When you got weight on the bike, it comes off the frame, so it quits dragging. But they're locked up because I got too much torque on the damn nut. So how much do you got to loosen up to make it work? More than I want to. No. Not gonna work. Got issues. Okay, attempt number one fail. Re-engineer a couple things here, it looks like. What a shocker. Okay. So I think the diameter's fine. It's right at the limit. The problem is we're locking the bearing up. I'm not sure exactly what we're locking it on, but I have to do a test bolt pattern here and see what we got. What the frame looks like over here. Frame should be fine. So I don't think we're hitting on the frame. We got a lot of drag on the bearing. These bearings are not the best in condition. The washer's jammed in there now. No more. We got a washer issue and the bearing issue not friendly with each other. Alright, so I think that was going over the edge too much and causing it to lock the bearing up. That was not helping the situation at all. This is still not free spinning like it's supposed to be. So these bearings are not the best of condition, I guess. It has drag on it. I'm assuming the sleeve has been crushed too far. That's another problem. It looks like it probably is all right. I think that part's probably okay. So this bearing here is good and free. This bearing here is tight. So you have a tight bearing. And we have a bearing that's a little bit too, bushing a little bit too narrow. Not much I can do about fixing that problem for now. You tighten it down, it gets real tight. Locks up the bearing that's already tight, makes it tighter. Yeah. And this washer is not the right size for that either. If I flip it over, that should help the situation a little bit. If I had some kind of real thin shim washer in there, that would probably take care of some in-play issues. So let me go look at washers. We'll be back. Okay, so I got a little thin shim washer here, AN washer actually. Oop. We're going to put that on top of that in there. That'll space the bearing up. So now the bearing won't bottom out inside on the plastic. It'll hit it against the washer. So it pulls that out a little bit. I'll flip this over so the sharp side is out now. So the bow is going in helping us direction, not the negative direction. And then when you tighten this down, it should be pretty good. So we'll take that, we'll put the rounded edge out on that. We'll put our fender washer, the rounded side out. Yeah, it shouldn't matter on that one. The sharp side in. Okay, now when you tighten that down, it should be alright. I lost my rag someplace. I need a nut and a wrench also, so we'll be right back again. Do a mock up here. Alright, so there's our wrench. Okay, so I got my regular nut. So I can put that on there easily. Why does that not fit? This is a metric washer. Bolt. Should be American. I think it says M8 on it. It's not an American. Wonderful. So much for an easy test, huh? Alright. We'll have to get a correct bolt over here. And we're too long. Alright, I get some right parts. This stuff's all junk.